here in Denver, Colorado. It wasn't just a big night of fights. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Good left hand from Rockhold. Right hand right back from Mike Perry.
Could I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Folks, what a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Perry on the top. Right hand from Mike Perry. Double jab. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds remaining.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, he did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
Welcome to hour number 3, our third and final on this first Football Friday of the 2024 NFL season. He is Joe Ranieri. I am Ben Stevens. One more hour to go up until 11 a.m. Eastern time. Our first Ranieri NFL Pick 6 of 2024, at least for a full weekend slate. It is going to be fun to be doing these with you throughout our Football Fridays in this football season. It is a marvelous, marvelous time, but it's not just the National Football League. Week number 2 of the college football campaign on the horizon. A triple header of FBS games on this Friday that will give you a few thoughts about it. Of course, look forward to the marquee matchups on the second full Saturday of this 2024 college football season as well. What a beautiful time of year it is on this Football Friday.
I can't wait. Nothing like a healthy mix of college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, and then rolling it right in on Monday and then just keep going, I don't know, for the next 4 months, Ben. I am all for it, my friend.
We keep going.
Circle it up.
We keep going till the middle of February each and every week. You know, Ranieri, what's fascinating about the Saturday slate, huge one for your Pokes coming up in Stillwater against Arkansas in a rivalry that should be a rivalry but hasn't been played in more than 4 decades. We'll get to Oklahoma State and Arkansas in just a little bit. You know what else is huge for Joe Ranieri? Hosting in-game live game day with Mike Blewett on Sundays in the early window, 1 to 4:25 p.m. Eastern time here on the SportsGrid, which informs our Sunday football schedule that we'll let you know about in just a moment. And maybe your take, your being the public, in terms of what your favorite viewing window is on a full Sunday around the National Football League. Is it 1? Is it the afternoon starting at 4:05? Or is it Sunday Night Football and our focus on prime time? That was the question for all of you in Fade the Public. You know, Ranieri, I think there are better games as you get through the entirety of the afternoon. A couple of marquee windows there. America's Game of the Week at 4:25 p.m. Eastern time, so on and so forth. And, of course, Sunday Night Football is the highest-rated television event each and every year, going on for the last half century virtually. but the public got this answer right. Is it the 1 o'clock slate, the 4 o'clock slate, or the Sunday night football game for your favorite viewing window on an NFL Sunday? The 1 o'clock slate running away with it at more than 69% of the votes. Great for you, Ranieri, for you and Blewett to be live on IGL.
Yes, it is. That's a great answer. I happen to have a little different take on this question and would like to write in a choice if I could.
Please.
Please.
Go
The
ahead.
other choice would be, it depends on how many games I lose in the 1 o'clock hour and how many games I need in the second half of the. I'm just saying, a lot of it depends on the tickets I'm holding, and how they do at the 1 o'clock determines what my favorite time slot is. Just saying.
How large is the sweat then that you have? Let's say it's not your best 1 o'clock window. Not going to happen this week. I know you're firing out of the gates to begin. But let's say it's not your best 1 o'clock window. You and Blewett rounding things off on in-game live around 4:15, 4:20 p.m. Eastern time. Where is your anxiety level entering the rest of the afternoon into Sunday night?
Oh, well, it always culminates into Sunday night, because Sunday night is either is just icing on the cake, or it's going to be, we need Sunday night to make this at least a break-even kind of day. So it's one or the other. The good news is the Sunday night games are usually, we're not dealing with the bottom feeders for the most part. So the Sunday night is usually a game I would bet anyway. But a lot of that Sunday night and that sweat is all determined on what happened in that 1 o'clock slate.
Yeah, listen, I get it. We got 8 games in that early window to kick off week number 1, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern time. In that afternoon window, only 4. But we did get this confirmed, Ranieri, a couple of weeks ago from Scott Hansen, of course, the lovely host of NFL Red Zone. He made sure to let everybody know that the NFL has scheduled at least 3 afternoon games starting at 4 p.m. Eastern time or later for each and every week, which doesn't seem like a lot, but during bye weeks later in the year, it can feel like we're watching one game even if there are multiple games out there. So it's not as electric, perhaps. There is nothing, in my opinion, like waking up on a Sunday. I get to sleep in after the early wake-up call for college football today on Saturday, staying up late to watch college football. I get to sleep in, I wake up, head out to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of Joe, relax, sit down, get the bets in, make sure the pick sheet is looking good for all of my pools. There is nothing, in my estimation, like that pregame tension and excitement then you feel from around 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is a beautiful and joyous time here on the East Coast. Some have argued, and I would hear it, that 10 a.m. Pacific time, you wake right up into football. I get it. And your primetime game is not 8:30 going close to midnight, as we saw yesterday with the delay in Kansas City. But that little grace period to wake up, relax, refresh, and reset ahead of that early 1 p.m. Eastern time window is one of my favorite moments of the entirety of the week and of the entire calendar year.
Well, because, if you have to wake up early enough to make sure that any big line movements, anybody hurt or injured or any sort of line changes we don't know about, that you got to make sure everything is in place, whether it's your fantasy team, contests, everything. And then there is a giant exhale, Ben, right around that 12:59 mark where you're like, all right, it's good to go. Let me take a breath here, and then let me sweat out the next 4.5 hours here and see where this all goes. There's nothing like it in the world. There really isn't.
Nothing like it. Man, I cannot wait for Red Zone on Sunday. We are back. Everybody is back. And also on Sunday, as Red Zone might be on one TV, you got to make sure on the other you are getting that in-game live analysis, the in-game odds, where the markets are moving and where you can find profits with Joe Ranieri and Mike Blewett to start things off on NFL football in-game live game day. Because here's what the Sunday slate looks like. It's our first full Sunday of the year. Hope you tuned in yesterday. You saw Casey Hudson on Pro Football Today setting the stage for the season debut in Arrowhead. Then it was the Pro Football Today crew of Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, Joe Lisi, all together to react as things were going on in-game in Arrowhead to the Chiefs and the Ravens. And then Tom Vecchio and Casey Hudson closing it out with some post-game reaction. So here is the Sunday slate on the SportsGrid Network. We do our own promo, so I got to make sure that you know. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It's Pro Football Today with Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, and Joe Lisi. When the games kick, it's Joe Ranieri and Mike Blewett starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on In Game Live Game Day. Ranieri, what is your excitement level to be working with Big Blue all football season long?
Oh, it's great. We've been doing it now over the last, 2 to 3 years. We've covered it. We did the late slate over the last couple of years. We're going to do the early slate this year. And really, if you are somebody that enjoys the sweat of, hey, I didn't like the number before the game, I'm going to wait to see how things unfold during the game and maybe place a wager, then this is the network that you need to have on one of your screens permanently, because that's what we do as the games are happening, looking for market inefficiencies and pointing them out.
Listen, I would say, Ranieri, it's a promotion to be in that early window on Sunday. We just saw in large amount, more than 69% of the votes, it's the favorite viewing window of the public. After Ranieri and Blewett say goodbye for 30 p.m. Eastern Time, Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden, and Adam Kaufman. And for Sunday Night Football, Gabe Morency for all of his reactions in prime time. Casey Hudson and Tom Vecchio will round it out with a post-game show late night on Sunday. You'll hear from Casey with some halftime updates throughout the day as well. College football next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
It's not just a full football Friday here because the NFL season has kicked off and we have week one continuing on this Friday night in Sao Paulo, Brazil, or our first full Sunday of the year. It's also a full football Friday because it's week number 2 of the college football campaign in 2024. He's Joe Ranieri. I am Ben Stevens. We get you set for the marquee matchups dotted across the Saturday slate. Joe, did you know there are 75 FBS college football games tomorrow for week number 2? It is our largest Saturday of the entirety of the college football season. So be prepared, my friend.
I cannot wait. College football is, it's a different kind of sweat, Ben, is it not, than the NFL? It's a different, totally different sweat than what you get on Sunday with the pros. But college is so unique in its own way that it's a different animal altogether, and I love it.
Yes, it is. I will see you later in the day for some first quarter and first half updates following college football today on a Saturday slate as well. In the marquee matchup in the early window, noon Eastern time, a big noon kickoff inside the big house, a top 10 tilt. It is Texas, now ranked third in the country against the reigning national champs, 10th ranked Michigan. A line that is now 7.5. Oh, in favor of the team that won a national championship and has 23 straight home wins? No, in favor of the visitors from Austin, north of a touchdown, now in favor of the Longhorns with a total at 42.5. Joe, when this line opened up in the summer months, it was Texas, already a road favorite, at 3.5. That caught the attention of some after the Longhorns hammer and shut out Colorado State in their opener last week in Austin, 52-0. And Michigan seemed to struggle with Fresno State, only winning 30-10 thanks to an icing pick six from Will Johnson. This line has ballooned. Is it an overreaction or is it the correct movement?
Oh, it's a gross overreaction, but it certainly feels like a total setup here, doesn't it? As if the books are just daring you. Go ahead, I dare you to take Michigan here. I want you to take Michigan here. It really does feel that way. But listen, the reality is this is a big spot for Texas. If they are as good as we expect, let's go. I mean, we only have 5 returning starters on Michigan. One of them was a punter. So this is a different Michigan team that won the national championship a year ago. This is pretty much the same Longhorn teams, only they got more potent somehow on offense. So they should win this game. They should be the favorite in this spot. Having said that, going into the big house, spotting Michigan over a touchdown, it's only happened twice since the 90s, I believe. So, and usually it's reserved for teams like Wisconsin or Ohio State that are usually doing that. But not with that defense of Michigan. I think this is a field goal game at best. I have to bite. It's Michigan or pass for me in this one.
42.5 is the total for two really good defenses, both ranking top 15 in the country a season ago. The Maize and Blue still the best. And yeah, Fresno State scored 10 points, but it wasn't an easy 10. If the total is correct and it stays around 42, 43, 44, even 45, for Texas to cover by more than a touchdown, that's 2 scores, would require that cover or a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, is a very, very tall order. Michigan has won 23 straight games at home. I know Davis Warren was not great earning the starting nod. I know there is quarterback confusion for the Maize and Blue. I expect to see Alex Orji in a more athletic running attack against a Texas defense that did allow Colorado State to have over a 100-yard rusher last week against the Rams, despite the Longhorns pitching the shutout. Michigan has only been an underdog 4 times in the last 3 college football seasons since 2021. They are 3-1 straight up and against the spread. Their only non-cover and loss as a dog to Georgia in the CFP semifinals now 3 years ago. We have 2 ranked versus ranked matchups on this week to Saturday. The second one, Ranieri, is in Charlotte. It is NC State taking on Tennessee. Technically a neutral site football game, but it is in Charlotte, not all that far from Raleigh, where the Wolfpack play. The line is also working in favor of the Volunteers. Now a 9.5-point spread against the Wolfpack. 60.5 is the total. What do you like in this matchup?
It feels like Josh Heupel and company are going to go in there and do exactly what Western, only they do it better because, you know, Josh Heupel loves to hurry up and get on the line of scrimmage and run as many plays as humanly possible, which is exactly what Western Carolina did and gave NC State all sorts of issues here. I do think points are coming in this game here, Ben. I think with McCall under center, NC State, I think they're going to be able to score some points here. I think Tennessee's going to be able to score. I think this is a good old-fashioned shootout between the SEC and the ACC. 61.5, somewhere in that ballpark, I think was the total. And if you like Tennessee, there's no way this thing stays under.
NC State has won 8+ games in each of the last 3 full seasons of college football. Dave Doran is consistent as the head coach for the Wolfpack in that 3-year span, 8-7 against the spread as a dog. Same 3-year span since Josh Heupel became the head man on Rocky Top starting in 2021. Tennessee is 20-9 against the spread as the favored side. That's the 6th best cover percentage as a favorite nationally in college football the last 3 years. The battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy and the lowest total this week in FBS college football, 35 and a hook, is the number for Iowa and Iowa State. The 71st all-time meeting between the Clones and the Hawkeyes, a 3-point spread in favor of Iowa inside Kinnick Stadium. Quickly here, Ranieri, what do you like in this matchup?
Over. Absolute over in this one here. But I saw, I think this one is going, I think it's way, listen, we're playing in Iowa in September. This is not November. There is no reason in the world Campbell and company, along with the offense now of Iowa, can't put points on the board to get this thing to 40.
That's almost blasphemy. However, Iowa did score 40 last week against Illinois State, put up nearly 500 yards of total offense, but 5 straight unders in the Cy-Hawk rivalry series. More around college football next.
Want to know who to draft and who to avoid in fantasy football? Or want to know who to place NFL season future bets on? Get an insider edge from the former NFL team doctors at Sports Injury Central. The 2024 NFL preseason injury guide is the only in-depth injury report analyzing all 32 teams and over 150 players. So go to sixscore.com to get the most accurate NFL preseason injury report. That's sixscore.com.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season.
A couple of rivalry games in week number 2 of this college football season. There is hate in the Cy-Hawk rivalry between Iowa and Iowa State. There is a ton of vitriol in a former Big 8 rivalry between Colorado and Nebraska. The 73rd all-time meeting between the Huskers and the Buffs on Saturday night under the lights inside Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska. A 7.5-point spread in favor of the Huskers, a total in the upper 50s. These two teams, Ranieri, met every year from 1948 until 2010 when both departed for new conferences. CU to the Pac-12, Nebraska to the Big Ten. They have met 3 times since 2018, and Colorado has won all 3, including the home opener last year to debut the Deion Sanders era in Boulder. Colorado won big, 36-14, covering easily as a 2.5-point favorite. It's year 2 for Prime. It's year 2 for Matt Rule. What happens on Saturday night in Lincoln?
Yeah, I think points are coming here. I love Matt Rule. I love Nebraska this year. Listen, Matt Rule is a guy that comes in and turns programs around, right? We saw him do it. Rutgers, we saw him do it there at Baylor. This is what he does, and it's usually always he takes over a organization there and a school that is a hot mess. The first year is miserable, although when you look at how many losses he had by 1 score, less than 1 score last year, he was close. Now he's got the quarterback that he wants. He's got the players, and everywhere he's been, Ben, year number 2 has been that year where they take it to another level, and I think that's exactly what we're going to get this year from Nebraska. At home, listen, who is Colorado stopping? I'm just curious. That defense. Did anybody see any defense, in fact, in that first game for Colorado? No. I think points are coming here. I think ultimately this is a very winnable game for Nebraska, and it wouldn't shock me if not only do they cover the spread, but they fly over the team total as well.
Right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook, Ramir Johnson is the only player listed with a rushing yards prop. Not even sure he's going to start the game for NU in the backfield. I think it could be Emmett Johnson. Regardless, I would keep an eye on the rushing yards numbers for Nebraska tomorrow against Colorado. A Buffs team that has the most star power in college football, perhaps, at 2 very important positions, quarterback in whatever position you want to talk about for Travis Hunter. 2 top 5 picks, more than likely, in the 2025 NFL Draft. But the same issues that plagued the Buffaloes last year, protecting Shedeur Sanders, keeping him upright and avoiding hits and stopping the run, reared their ugly head against North Dakota State. Now, Nebraska has not been a great favorite under Matt Rule, just 1-4 against the spread, 1-5 in single-score games, 3-18 in one-score games the last 3 years. We'll see if it's a one-score game on Saturday night against the Buffs. Can Clemson, after getting throttled by Georgia, bounce back in week number 2? The home opener in Death Valley for the Tigers against a really good Sun Belt team, and a team often known for being the David to many Goliaths. It is App State. It's a 17-point spread. Is Clemson even going to score 17 points? That's my question for Saturday between the Tigers and the Mountaineers.
Listen, there's no shame in losing to Georgia. But if it was an anomaly, Ben, that Clemson offense looks exactly like the version we've seen the last 3 years, which is putrid. Exactly. They got dominated in that Georgia game. They totaled 189 yards from scrimmage. I mean, that's just terrible, especially given the fact that, yes, Georgia's reputation on defense is one thing, but that's not a defense loaded with 5-star guys again. This is not one of the better, more experienced Georgia fronts, and yet they bulldozed this Clemson team. And you mentioned it there. I think Garrett Riley's in trouble. I think Dabo's in trouble here. I think heads are going to roll. No way am I trusting them to win by more than 17 points. This was an easy bet for me. I took as many points as you're going to give me with App State, who will be around in the fourth quarter in this game.
Cade Klubnik is the worst quarterback of the two in this matchup, in my estimation. Joey Aguilar for App State, 7th most passing yards last year, 326 in the opener, albeit against East Tennessee State. We understand that. But also keep an eye when the receiving yards props come out on his top target, Caden Robinson. 8 grabs for 103 yards last week in the Mountaineers opener. Does Oregon bounce back? The odds starting to expect it. The Ducks a 3-touchdown favorite against Boise State. Oregon won last week, but by only 10 against Idaho. Good one in Salt Lake between Utah and Baylor. Joe, the Pokes, touchdown favorite against Arkansas. Our pick 6 for NFL Week 1 next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
This is very exciting. This is an honor to get you set for a weekend around the National Football League, and it is weekend number one. A game on this Friday in Sao Paulo between the Eagles and the Packers. That's Brazil. It's a 2.5-point spread in favor of Philly. We've got 13 games in our first full Sunday slate upcoming in just 48 hours after that. And, of course, Monday Night Football, but we'll get to that next week out in Santa Clara. It is time for our NFL Week 1 Pick 6. He's Joe Ranieri. I am Ben Stevens. A reminder, if you have not been with us during Football Fridays in years past, this is what is a part of the Pick 6. 6 wagers that we want to have some fun with as we try to handicap the slate for a weekend. A touchdown score prop, somebody to find Pater. A money line underdog, a team we think keeps it close and wins outright. An under of the weekend that we enjoy. An alternate line could be a prop, could be a total, could be a spread with a sprinkle of plus money. Our favorite yardage prop of the entirety of the weekend slate. And then we combine forces for a 2-leg 6-point teaser to get things set for your NFL weekend. Joe Ranieri, the honor is mine, but the honor is yours to start off our first Pick 6 of the 2024 NFL season with your anytime TD score.
I'm going to go to tonight here, and I'm going to say that welcome to your new team here in Mr. Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles at minus 125. I mean, listen, the tush push aside here, Ben, I do think they are going to rely on Barkley. Again, we talked about it earlier, some of the new pieces offensively on the offensive line, namely the center spot there with Kelsey gone. I do not think this is going to be a hurry up, we're going to air it out, and we're going to have Jalen Hurts step back there and throw the ball 50 times in this game. I think Barkley's going to be a big featured part of this. Inside the goal line, I'd say inside the 10-yard line here, I do think he's viable not only catching the ball, but also running the ball out of the backfield. I think it's an easy one.
You know, Ranieri, what I'm so fascinated to see is a couple of the anytime touchdown props that where they are listed right now entering week 1 of the season, where they might be week 4, week 7, week 13, and beyond. Tom Vecchio brought that point up yesterday as he was handicapping the season debut in Arrowhead. Xavier Worthy was plus 175 to find Pater. Of course, he scored twice on only 3 total touches, 2 grabs and a rushing attempt. I don't think we're going to see plus 175 on Xavier Worthy. And if Saquon Barkley is the guy for this Philly offense that we all expect him to be, that Kellen Moore will hope to utilize him as Philly's new play caller, I'm not sure minus 125 is going to be there much longer either. It's my hope and my thought for my touchdown score, minus 105 on Bijan Robinson. Again, I said it when we were breaking down the game against the Steelers. I'm going to look at this Falcons team often throughout the regular season, expecting them to be one of the highest scoring offensive teams in the league, led by Kirk Cousins, and keep an eye on their totals, team totals, game totals between the two sides, and I think Bijan Robinson has a lot to say in that. Only 4 touchdowns last year under Arthur Smith, much to the chagrin of many of his fantasy owners in his rookie season. I do not expect that to be the same under Zach Robinson's system. It's West Coast. It's the likes of Sean McVay. We've seen Kyron Williams explode, also from the same tree of Kyle Shanahan. And Christian McCaffrey can't not score, it seems, each and every game with the 49ers. I do think we will see some points from Atlanta against Pittsburgh on Sunday, and I think Bijan Robinson finds the end zone.
I love that as well, Ben. I think this is a spot for Atlanta, who, don't forget, it was playoffs or bust last year. But let's be realistic here, Ben. That didn't work out, and I do think the expectations again this year with Raheem Morris, I think they live up to them here. I like Atlanta a lot this season.
The Falcons minus 140 as the odds-on favorite to win the NFC South entering the first year with Raheem Morris. Arthur Smith heads back to the ATL on Sunday. Now is the OC for the Steelers. In all 3 years as the Falcons head coach, Atlanta was just 7-10 under Smith. All right, now a money line underdog that we think has the opportunity to win outright to start off week number 1. Ranieri, what gets your attention?
Yeah, go big or go home here, Ben. And, yep, you heard it here first. The Arizona Cardinals are going into Orchard Park, and they're winning this game here. I'll tell you that right now. And again, we mentioned it earlier, if this was week 5 and Arizona's got to fly across country to Orchard Park, I'd have an issue. But since this is right out of the gate and their next 3 games are at home, I love Gannon. I love Arizona this year. I think the hype is real. I loved, more importantly, the draft. They addressed their issues in the secondary on the defensive side of the ball, while Buffalo is going to look totally different, guys. No more Micah Hyde in the backfield or Jordan Poyer in the defensive back or Tre'Davious White. Matt Milano, again, hurt. That is the heart and soul of that defense. I think they're going to have a terrible time trying to isolate Murray. I think he's going to have his way. On the flip side there, I think Gannon and company are going to have an opportunity to keep this game close late and then do the unthinkable, kick a field goal to win it.
So when you look at this Cardinals team, right, 7.5 is the win total now for Arizona, for a team that had the lowest win total entering last year. Part of that was the Kyler Murray injury. Part of that was a deteriorated roster. Part of that was a rookie head coach in Jonathan Gannon. It was 4.5, and the Cards did stay under that number. But in the final 8 games that Kyler Murray started, 3 of the 4 victories came with Kyler at the helm. And, Joe, it's one of the things that you can look at for a team when you expect year-over-year improvement. Arizona was booked as a dog all 17 games last season. They were 9-8 against the spread. Competitive, keeping games closer than the odds makers expected. So now you keep those close games that you came out on the losing end ever so slightly and flip a few to some wins. That's how Arizona gets to 7-8, maybe even a winning record this season. I completely agree. I think the Cardinals will be great. I think Kyler Murray is going to have a solid year, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the benefactor of all of that. I said all those nice things about Arizona being a dog 17 times last year and covering in 9 of those games to highlight why I like the Cardinals to improve year over year. I'm almost going to eat my words as I give you my money line underdog pick. It's the Carolina Panthers at plus 168. Ben, You just gave all these outstanding reasons why Arizona is a good team to bet as a dog, but Carolina was atrocious last year. 4-11-2 against the number as a dog all 17 games. They had the highest under percentage in the National Football League, 12-17, because they were tied for the worst scoring offense alongside New England in Bryce Young's rookie year. I think that's going to change right away under Dave Canales. And I think the Panthers get a victory on Sunday in New Orleans. I am not overly optimistic about this Saints team. Carolina's last win last year of their two came against an NFC South foe in Atlanta. That's where I think Carolina sees the biggest improvement, taking advantage of a poor NFC South en route to winning at least 6 games and going over their win total this season. It starts, in my estimation, Joe, on the first Sunday in New Orleans.
Yeah, listen, it can't. We said it with the Giants. We'll say it with Carolina. It can't get much worse. You can only go up from here, Ben. And I do like the coaching hire. If he's as good a quarterback whisperer as we think, the kid will make some strides this year.
He has to, right? You have to see return on your investment for the number 1 overall pick, thrust into a tough situation. Yep. Needless to say, last year, Frank Reich fired in the middle of the year. Not sure I believe in David Tepper as the owner in Charlotte in a hostile environment and what it means for the overall outlook for Dave Canales as the head coach. But I do think it leads to more wins this year for Carolina. The Giants were 6-11, so it could get worse. The only way it gets worse for the Panthers is if they are winless or win only 1 game. Don't expect that to be the case. More from our NFL Week 1 Pick 6 up next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
The Pick 6 rolls on for NFL Week number 1. The entirety of this weekend slate that truly starts tonight, a Friday night in Sao Paulo between the Eagles and the Packers. Again, the Pick 6, our favorite anytime touchdown score, a moneyline underdog that we think can pull the upset. We gave you both of those. Now we move on to the under, the alt line, our favorite yardage prop of the weekend. And we combine forces once again to round things out for a 2-leg, 6-point teaser. Your favorite under of the Sunday slate, Joe Ranieri, is where?
Where, if it ain't broke, Ben, do not fix it. And any time we get Pittsburgh, who tends to play very conservatively away from home, and the Steelers are now 50, 20, and 2 to the under in all regular season road games in the last 9 years, I'm leaning to the under here. While, yes, I think the Falcons, their defense, I think, is much improved with some of the additions. They bring in safety Justin Simmons in. They brought in Matthew Judon from New England. I think, yes, the Falcons' defense is going to be elevated with Raheem Morris. I also think Pittsburgh's defense is going to be the best part of that team. I don't see how we get over this number. It's under for me.
You know, I'm not going to call this quite a referendum game for either side, but a lot of changing parts, of course, this offseason. We expect Russell Wilson to start week number 1, but a limited participant at practice yesterday in Pittsburgh has some a little bit cautious, shall we say. But there's a new offensive coordinator in Arthur Smith for a Pittsburgh team that has struggled to put up points despite winning records the last few years, even following Ben Roethlisberger. The final few years of Big Ben's tenure, his last 2, the Steelers were a bottom 10 scoring offense. It's where they've been the 2 years following Big Ben's departure and retirement as well. Does that change this year under Arthur Smith? We shall see. We know the consistent standard that Pittsburgh is. Atlanta now with Kirk Cousins and Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier and Darnell Mooney, and the list goes on with a new offensive coordinator in Zach Robinson, expected by many, including myself, to be one of the highest scoring offenses in the National Football League this year. What does it mean for the total? We'll see if it's a little bit emblematic, shall we say, for the rest of this season for both teams. I go Raiders, Chargers under 40.5. The Raiders under in 11 of 17 games. The Bolts tied for the highest under percentage in the NFL alongside Carolina last year. 12 games under in 17 total ones. And the main reason, Ranieri, one of the reasons, by the way, I'm a little bit skeptical of like drafting Justin Herbert in a fantasy league or betting on his season-long props. Jim Harbaugh hired Greg Roman, who was his offensive coordinator in San Francisco and was the OC for John, Jim's brother in Baltimore, for many years up until a season ago. And they came in right away and said, you know what's going to help Justin Herbert the most? Establishing the run, running the darn ball. It's what Jim Harbaugh did at Michigan. It's what I expect the Chargers to do right away. I think we see some slower-paced offenses out of the Bolts. And the wide receivers that Justin Herbert had known the entirety of his NFL career, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, are gone. I think the Chargers are a run-first team, slow down the pace. 40.5, I stay under even of a minimal total in Los Angeles on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I can't argue with that, too. I know a lot of guys, Ben, that are looking early in this season to fade the Chargers a lot. A lot of questions there. Never an easy thing. Now, eventually, I think Harbaugh will figure it out, but I'm kind of with you. I think it's kind of a wait-and-see approach with them. I would not be expecting a ton of high-scoring Charger games anytime soon.
So now let's go alt line here in our pick 6. It can be a passing, it could be a yardage prop, it could be a total, it could be a spread. Where do you think, Ranieri, we might see the market be a little bit off and we can sprinkle to find some plus money value?
Listen, I don't think the total is high enough here, and I am okay. If you got it at 51 like I did, the over in the Rams and the Lions, great. It's been ticking up, but I don't have a problem getting this thing up to 53, Ben, at a great plus price. Why? Well, we just saw this game, didn't we, last year? And I think the total was, 55, somewhere in that ballpark there. 53.5, I think that total was. And it's not going to be enough. Listen, we know the Rams defense, no more Aaron there. So you know that defense is going to take a little bit of a step back. We know the Lions, who have brought back the entire offensive line and all the weapons, they are going to keep scoring no matter what. McVay and company had no problem scoring on this team last year with that defense. I don't think they're going to have a problem scoring again this year. I think this is going to be an old-fashioned shootout here where, don't be shocked, if the first person to 30 wins this game. It's got 30-25 written all over it as far as I'm concerned. So that's the way I'm going to go. Give me as many points as you want in the alt market. It's worth it. This is going to be the highest scoring game of the weekend.
52.5 is that total for the Rams and the Lions on Sunday night. Joe, we'll quickly go here to my alt line of the weekend. I was going to make it the alt line all off season long, into camp, into preseason, so I decided I would stick with it, although I'm a little bit more scared of it. 6.5 in favor of the Vikings to beat the Giants by at least a touchdown at plus 200. It's a virtual pick'em on the FanDuel Sportsbook. The Vikes, a slight road favorite in MetLife against the G-Men. Minus 118 on the money line. Why do I think the Vikings can win by a touchdown? Is it because I believe in Sam Darnold? Not necessarily. I think he'll be the beneficiary of a Kevin O'Connell system and having Justin Jefferson. But a couple of injuries along that Vikings team. We still, of course, have T.J. Hawkinson on the PUP list. Don't love that for Minnesota. But I think the defense will improve in year number 2 with the same DC and a good defensive mind, regardless of how he treats his former quarterbacks. That's Brian Flores. And I don't know what the Giants are going to be this year. I think it's going to be a really bad season for Big Blue. I think the Vikings win this game and win it comfortably. Give me Minnesota minus 6.5 at plus 200. Renee, we're coming up on the break, so did just want to share this breaking news quickly. Jalen Ramsey, once again, the highest paid corner in the history of the NFL, agreeing to a 3-year extension with the Dolphins worth more than $24 million per year. We'll talk more around the Pick Six up next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
Let's round out the Pick Six in our final segment of this first full football Friday of the 2024 NFL season. He's Joe Ranieri. I am Ben Stevens, our favorite yardage prop. And then we combine forces for a 2-leg, 6-point teaser for your Sunday slate. Ranieri, when you're looking at yards and somebody to go either over or under on Sunday, where do you go first?
I'm going to look here in my backyard and go to Miami and look at Tua's passing yards in this game. And we all know, listen, early in the season, 80 degrees, hot, humid, right? Well, that's where they have thrived here. And McDaniel loves to throw the ball, doesn't he? He just loves to throw it. And we saw them average, I think Tua led the NFL, 13.2 yards of completion, over 8 yards an attempt, 292 passing yards a game last year. Nothing is going to change here, folks. Nothing. They're going to come out throwing the ball all over the place. I expect a 300-yard performance out of them. So anything under 300 yards is an overplay with Tua for me.
When you look at Tua Tagovailoa, 4,624 passing yards last year to lead the National Football League. Now the fourth highest paid quarterback in NFL history, making more than $53 million per year. And to Ranieri's point, look at the start of 2023 for this Dolphins team. Tua threw for more than 400 yards in the opener against the Chargers, then 249 the week after, and then he went on a run where he would have been over this number comfortably with at least 282 yards in the next 3 consecutive games, including 309 in the 70-point outing against the Denver Broncos. And that game, of course, was the home opener in South Florida for Miami. I also go to Florida, but to Tampa, the Buccaneers playing host to the Washington Commanders. I think we see some points in this game. I actually think it's going to be a really good matchup. 3.5-point spread in favor of the Buccaneers. Ranieri, you mentioned it in terms of Tua. Not only he and the Dolphins' offense prolific, but last year, the Jaguars were not the best team defending the pass. Bottom 10 in terms of passing defense around the National Football League, giving up nearly 240 yards per game. The worst secondary in football, more than 262 yards given up. That's the Commanders. Now, I think it will be better under Dan Quinn. In fact, there was no doubt in my mind it will be better under Dan Quinn, but not enough against Baker Mayfield, and not just Baker, but his top target in Mike Evans. 10 years in the NFL, all 10 years with 1,000 receiving yards for Mike Evans, going over this number of 67.5 8 times in regular season games a year ago. I think it starts well for Tampa and Mike Evans on Sunday, over 67.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, I love that too. I do think it's one of my favorite overs of the week. It was 41.5. It's creeped up now a little bit to 42.5. And yeah, listen, I think Washington's defense is going to be better as the season progresses. But it's going to take some time with all those new players and young players they have in that secondary now.
All right, now we combine forces to round out the pick six, a 2-leg, 6-point teaser. Ranieri, what's your leg first?
I'm going to go with Dallas getting 2.5 points right now on the road against the Browns. I'm going to tease them up to 8.5, Ben. Listen, there is too much variance in depending on Deshaun Watson to show up and show out here. I'm going to get that we're going to get much of what we got last year, and I think any maturation is going to happen week 4, week 5, week 6. It ain't going to happen in game 1. I think Dallas is a live dog here, but if you want to get me up and over a touchdown here in a teaser spot, I'm good to go.
Yep, Joe, I'm looking at the other way around for making a 8.5-point spread down through those two key numbers to a 2.5-point spread for the Bengals. Cincy, an 8.5-point favorite against the Patriots at home. I think they can cover that number by itself. But we'll take it through 7 through 3 like Joe did, but just in the reverse. Cincy laying only 2.5 under a field goal against who I believe is going to be by far the worst team in the National Football League this year in the Patriots. That's how you do the first Football Friday of week number 1 of this NFL season. Week number 2, Saturday slate in college football as well. You'll see Ranieri on Saturday and Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time on In-Game Live Game Day. Joe, I'll see you tomorrow as well.
Well, can't wait here, Ben. It's going to be a loaded weekend. Definitely want to hang out with us here at SportsGrid for sure.
This is the best time of the year. I will see you all 9 a.m. Eastern time for week number 2 in the Saturday slate in college football on College Football Today. The early line turns on Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern. Have a great weekend.